Welcome to Ignite Interviews. I'm Cindy Donahue, and I'm very proud to have Ginger Ewing and Jackie Caro from Terrain on the program.
We're so happy to be here. Thanks for having us on.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you to talk about innovation and art in our community. It's so important to everything that we have going on.
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit how Terrain began and what's happening this year.
Sure. Yeah. So Terrain began, I can't believe it, but it was almost 13 years ago. Myself, my now husband, Luke, and three of our friends started with what we thought was going to be a one-night only, one-time event. And really, if you grew up in Spokane, there was this narrative that we were told, and certainly my mom's generation was told, that if you were going to be quote unquote successful or have fun in your 20s, you were going to do it anywhere but Spokane, Washington. And we found ourselves in our 20s and really invested in Spokane's future. I was the curator for cultural literacy at the Northwest Museum of Arts and Culture. Luke was the arts editor. My husband, Luke, was the arts editor at the Inlander. Patrick Kendrick, our buddy, was the largest independent music booker in town at the time. And then we had a couple other kind of community organizers who were the co-founders of Terrain. So despite this kind of massive brain drain from that narrative, we saw these really amazing pockets of creativity that still existed in Spokane, but we saw some gaps. So a couple of those were, one, there was a big gap between what we called the kind of underground emerging artists of Spokane and the more established artists of Spokane. So we wanted to try to find a way to get those two groups of audience, their artists talking. We also really felt like you had musicians over here and you had visual artists over here and you had literary artists over there, and they were all doing really incredible things, but again, they were not talking to each other. So the original idea was quite simple, was just to get everybody into a room for a single evening. Our method, our tool was art and creativity to see what would happen. And then there was probably like a third additional layer to that, is that we saw that there were some voices missing from the table. And so we wanted to be sure that underrepresented voices, voices again that weren't invited to the table, were also a part of that initial conversation. So that's the beginnings of Terrain in a very quick nutshell. Fast forward to today, we are a federal nonprofit. Again, we had no intention of starting an arts organization, but here we are. We do several large-scale annual events. Terrain, the original event, still takes place in the before times. Our last one was Terrain 12. We highlighted 274 artists. 13,000 people come to that event. Again, think music, art, visual art, literary art, a little bit of everything. We have Bazaar and Burzar, which are annual art markets. Again, one-day events. They sell about $125,000 of the art in a single day. And then we have these kind of ongoing programs. We have a permanent gallery space. We have a performing arts space. We have a retail storefront. We have special projects. So a little bit of everything.
So you just have a few things going on.
We've grown quite a bit since just that initial idea.
So, and what's going to happen this year? What are you anticipating is going to happen this year with Terrain?
Yeah. Well, this year's, obviously we're rolling with the punches as things come along, especially when it's concerned to the larger events that Ginger was talking about. We're still nebulous a little bit about some of those, but for our permanent programming, we've really been leaning into that and really trying to, if we can't do our events the same way we always have, what are things that we've always kind of had in the background that people don't really know that Terrain does, like our Creative Enterprise program. This will be our third year doing this, and it is to support creative businesses in Spokane, and so 15 different businesses will go through a program, 12-week program, where they'll kind of learn everything about their business and hopefully take them from, a little side project that they're doing to an actual business. And so they walk away with a business plan. Also our retail storefront, which we've managed to keep alive over the last year, scraping by as much as we can, but a lot of that feeds into that Creative Enterprise program. A lot of those people, the reason we started from here, which is the retail storefront, was really to support those people that were graduating from that program and allowing them a space where they could be collaborative and a space where they could be supported through our organization the best way that we could. And so that's been around now for 3 years, the third year. We started as the pop-up shop, a smaller space, and moved into River Park Squares from here, a much larger space. And now we're up to 92 different artists in that space. And then obviously keeping our gallery open as much as possible. It's kind of another thing that's kind of month by month, like we're going to be open this month. It's great, limited capacity, but we have shows all lined up now for 2021. So that's exciting. Just seeing that permanency helps us to kind of keep moving, even if we can't do events the way that we generally do. But there's a lot of things.
So Creative Enterprises is in its, you said, third cohort?
Yeah.
And then when is there a cutoff? Has everyone already applied?
No, the applications close March 7th. And it's a strenuous application, but it's really like, maybe an hour or so to do it. But it really is such a great opportunity for those people that are really more the creative-minded business to really take them the next step.
And how long is the program once somebody gets in?
12 weeks. So once a week for 12 weeks. And it'll all be through Zoom this time, which is kind of a bummer, but it also allows, I think, more people to probably participate who probably couldn't prior. So people who are doing this as their side business, this is, they're doing it in the evenings, so that actually gives them more freedom to actually participate. So
from here has it been open this whole time?
Well, minus the 2 months it was closed.
The original shutdown from like Marchish till June-ish.
Yeah.
Where we weren't allowed to be open. And then, we've been slowly increasing hours. And then one of the things that we've also done to kind of adjust to the pandemic is bring a lot of our programs online. So From Here now has a website, FromHereSpokane.com, so you can get every single item that is in our physical location. You can get it online as well. So that's been kind of a way that we've adapted, and also to meet kind of customers' needs. Some people feel comfortable coming down to the physical storefront, some people don't, so wanting to be able to be courteous and conscious of people's comfort levels.
Yeah, we've done that also for the gallery because we knew, like even now we know that some people just don't feel comfortable, and it's just easy enough for us now to just adapt to that and go, okay, we should have probably been doing this before anyway, so let's put all the art online. It's actually purchasable, so even if you don't come to our gallery, you can purchase it online. And also if you wanted to purchase it and you're in the gallery, that means there's no touch. You just go online and you purchase it. So just little things like that I think has actually made us better, that we wouldn't have done prior.
Yeah, everyone's had to, the good and bad of the Zoom time, right?
Absolutely.
It's the good and bad of getting creative and bringing art to people where they are, I guess, even if you can't be in person.
Absolutely.
And then do you have other creative projects or passion projects that are going on as well?
Yeah. So I think, Terrain has always done some special projects. We had a big one that took place this summer. Jeff Oswald, who is the president of 14.4 and has a sister company, 7.2, approached us about doing a big Black Lives Matter mural on their building this summer. And so that came at a pretty opportune and special time for me personally. I think one of the challenges through the pandemic and the social justice uprising that's been happening is both my own kind of personal pain and emotion and feelings that I'm chewing through on the personal level, and then also being, the leader, a Black leader of an arts organization here in town, kind of oscillating between those two things and what to do and not to feel paralyzed. And so that particular project was, again, really special for me because not only did we get to partner and collaborate with 16 BIPOC artists, that also got to kind of process their pain and their joy and just what they were feeling in that particular moment. I selfishly got to do that too. And so it was, and then Terrain got to kind of, I'm not saying this very well. Terrain has always been equity focused and socially justice minded. We've been so since the beginning. Again, talking about those underrepresented voices that we wanted around the table at the beginning. We've always acted that way internally. We haven't been super vocal about it. And this summer was just a clear reminder of like, okay, not only is this?
Yeah, so you just felt like you were fulfilling your purpose. I mean, it seems like that you just
Thank
felt
you,
that
Cindy.
way.
Yeah. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
It really. So what I'm trying to say is that it provided clarity around our role. So I felt really good about Terrain as an organization and social justice and equity being embedded into the DNA, into everything that we do, the artists that we work with, the programs that we do, who we give platforms to in this community. But what I started to recognize is that wasn't enough. And oftentimes, whether it's revolution or progress, that artists are oftentimes at the forefront of that. As an arts organization, it wasn't enough to hang our hands on just being an equitable organization or an anti-racist organization. We needed to help lead the way. And so the BLM Mural helps create that clarity, at least for me personally, and now for us as an organization, of from here on out, how we move forward, that how we clearly stand in allyship, how we clearly stand at the forefront and want to be leaders in and creating a more socially just, equitable world.
And then I think looking for projects that help us to accomplish that.
Yes.
Because of the BLM mural, and Ginger did an amazing job with that, and like literally helped curate the whole thing and like think through, originally the idea was to have one artist do the entire thing, and instead of doing one artist, it's 16 different BIPOC artists who did the mural. And so you're really like just that, like thinking past, it could be one person, it's 16 different people. And now those 16 different BIPOC artists who maybe you didn't know about have, their bio on our website and on 7-2's website, and that just gives more exposure in that way. And then we've been working on another project with the Black Lens called Create Health, which was funded from the Department of Health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that is supporting other BIPOC artists in Spokane as well, and reaching out to those people and really giving them opportunity. And, us as an organization being able to say, okay, yeah, like that's super important for us. And how can we keep doing projects that achieve that goal instead of it just being, a percentage of the people in an event, or, like it's just more thought through, I think. At this
it's
point.
Inclusion in action.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really, it's living out your purpose and including everyone and all the different voices that are in art.
Absolutely.
Are there more projects like that can be created for our community that are, murals or outdoor art projects that are happening?
We are actually working on another project called the East Central Art Project that will work with youth of the East Central neighborhood. I'm sure a lot of people know that with the building of I-90, it essentially redlines that neighborhood, and that neighborhood has struggled ever since. And so this is a project that's been in the works for about a year and a half. Really, we want it to be community-led, and so we've been working really closely with some leaders in East Central, Sandy Williams being one of them, to get the project up and running. But essentially, it'll be a large public art mural that is a reflection of the beauty and the resiliency of the East Central neighborhood. So we're really excited about that particular project that hopefully now that we're in phase 2, we'll be able to kind of start gathering community around and gathering those stories, and that will be installed in the fall of this year. And again, just always looking kind of for special projects, around town, or collaborations with business owners or whatever it happens to be, other arts organizations, other organizations. We love to collaborate. And so most certainly one of the things that I'm thinking about in the future is what I've been calling just art interventions. What can we do kind of large scale, whether it's pop-up public art projects or more permanent public art projects like the BLM Mural? What are the opportunities there to start conversation, again, to highlight and amplify all sorts of diverse voices? I'm really excited about those opportunities from here on out.
It seems like that those partnerships with businesses and the partnership with the city and the county, it just brings more beauty to our city, and the ability to walk downtown and see art pieces is just it changes the face of who we are.
Yeah,
really.
Sure. Absolutely. And when we talk about art and innovation, I mean, this is something that, we've been advocating for a really long time. But as a community, as a city, as we start to try to get, tech companies or other companies to kind of relocate to Spokane, one of the things that they're looking for is our cultural scene. What are their employees going to do after hours? What kind of city are we going to be, moving our headquarters or our second headquarters to? And art is a huge aspect of that. Art is literally the heart and the soul of who we are as a community. It's what makes Spokane uniquely Spokane. And as, again, we talk about innovation and we talk about tech and we talk about, again, just the organizations that are here, or the businesses that are here, but the businesses that we want to attract, art is at the forefront of that. It's proven, it's undeniable. There are so many cities that have proven that. So we're really excited to be one part of that, of making Spokane a special place for the people who live here now and who've dedicated their lives to making Spokane a better place, and the people who might be here and make Spokane their home in the future.
I mean, it's amazing how many things Terrain has morphed into, from its one night only event into, I mean, really covering partnerships for art, inclusion in all voices. I mean, it's the pop-up shop. I mean, not the pop-up shop. What's it called now?
From here.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I like to go shopping there.
Yeah.
So, but it's in, having your cohort to teach entrepreneurs that are artists. I mean, it's incredible the amount of, areas that you cover within art and innovation.
Yeah.
And then for, in terms of your relationship or being part of Spokane Arts Commission, are there projects coming out of there as well that you're in partnership with?
Not currently, although we collaborate with Spokane Arts quite a bit. And I actually just termed off of 6 years off of being a Spokane Art Commissioner. I guess one of the exciting projects that kind of goes back to that public art piece that, everyone could experience is the Cultural Trail. That's a working title, but that is going to be working in tandem with the what's the bus line called again?
Central Line.
The Central City Line. It's essentially a walkable urban trail for folks in the downtown area, and art is a heavy focus in that. And Spokane Arts has a large part to helping make that happen. So again, these kind of public art projects that kind of pop up around town or pop up around downtown will just continue to kind of fill downtown with a lot of different artwork.
I think maybe this is like not anything that either of our organizations do, but we're at the table, was the downtown plan. It's being it's being redone. And we sat at the table and really worked closely with Melissa Huggins at Spokane Arts and really talked about like what were the things that as arts organizations do we see are important for downtown and the future of downtown and how we interact with it. So that was actually a really great project that I think the three of us really came together and thought, okay, how can we be pushing this a little bit further and get more innovative projects and more innovative policies in here? And so that was super great to get to collaborate on that and really work together on like, okay, what do we see the future of this being? Yeah. And so that's out for comment for any person. So obviously, if you're somebody who supports arts or anything else in the downtown, like be sure to give your comments on that. It's super important.
Yeah, I'm really glad that you brought that up, because another important kind of crossroads that Spokane sees itself in is that there's been this massive paradigm shift happen in the last 5 years, and especially in the last couple of years of an influx of out-of-town developers and, again, outside businesses coming in, people flooding into Spokane because now it's a rad place to be. Don't tell anybody. Shh. We actually have a real opportunity to learn from our sister cities, whether it's Portland or it's Seattle or the Bay Area, of different sorts of things that we can offer business owners to keep affordable housing downtown, or affordable studio spaces or cultural spaces. There are policies that we can pass now that will keep our artists and our creatives here, continue to make Spokane an affordable place to be, so we don't make expats out of our artists and creatives who made Spokane desirable to live with or to begin with in the future. Incentives is the word I was looking for. Give building and property owners incentives to have mixed use space. So those are just like one examples of kind of the downtown plan that we were kind of working together and pushing for the city of Spokane.
And then continue to support those cultural spaces, you know, your big symphonies down to your tiny terrains, just supporting those in so many different ways is not just a donation every month. It also is advocating for those spaces and those places to be kept in our downtown. Allowing for those things to continue to happen in a way that makes sense for everyone. So it's super important that, we all get nerdy and read those things and make comment on them.
For sure.
So in addition to donating and to advocating, what else could someone do that wants to support art in our community and innovation in our community if they're listening? What advice would you give them?
Oh my gosh, there's so many things I was just thinking of this because Ginger sent me the questions we were going to have today. And I just thought, it comes down to like the simplest things. Go and buy a mug that is from somebody here in Spokane. It could be one mug. It's $25. That makes a huge difference to that person, and it may not be a huge expense to you. Buy a piece of art that's local. It doesn't have to be your $3,000 piece. It could be $25 print. There's just so many little things that you can do besides supporting the organizations that are supporting those people, is to actually seek them out. Maybe you bought that mug. Now, like when you're ready to buy a plate set, maybe research them and be like, oh, they make plate sets and they're custom. Maybe I should actually buy from that person versus going to a bigger store. Or, there's just so many different options out there for anybody in any income bracket to support arts. Or again, if without money, you can support arts by making comment on things or volunteering. Yeah, there's so many ways to do it that don't have to be huge asks.
Even those are all really great points. So one of the things that we say is buying local is important, but also buying locally made. And locally made is going to support those artists and creatives, keep their job, live in Spokane. But another thing too is simply like seeking artists out, liking their pages, sharing their social media, doing the same with Terrain, doing the same with Spokane Arts, doing the same with the symphony and the museum, liking and sharing. If you don't financially, if you're stretched and you can't donate and you can't, or you don't have the time to volunteer, most of us are on social media. And again, liking and sharing, breaking that algorithm is huge to kind of get our messages out there. So anywhere from actually, physically buying something to donating to volunteering to liking and sharing. There's many different ways you can get involved, even for free.
Another great thing that Spokane Arts has is the artist roster, which we get people asking all the time. Do you have any artists who do this, or this? And we do generally have an answer to that, but it's also nice. Like if you were thinking about redoing your logo, like go to the artist roster page and find somebody who does graphic design and use that local person versus maybe going on to an online service and doing that. So there's opportunity there that are, if it's something you're already going to be doing anyway, like maybe search out the local version of that and try that instead.
And where does that roster live?
It's on the Spokane Arts page.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's SpokaneArts.org /backsplash artist roster. We've been talking in our bathroom about bathroom / artist roster. But if you just do Spokane Arts artist roster, it'll come up.
It's an interesting idea to reach out to artists. So one of the things I was talking to with another guest today was how our region is so open still that you can reach out to someone that's another business owner or a mentor, and they'll call you back and they'll meet with you for coffee, and that we still have that small town feel. So I wonder if the idea of reaching out to artists that you admire, that you find, on their page and chatting with them, and it would be an interesting way to really spread art in a more personal way.
Yeah. Absolutely. And actually, that's some of the motivation behind both from here and then Bazaar and Burzar, some of the events, the larger events that we do, is we actually want to create those personal connections. Some of the things that we are really focused on is creating multiple price points for people. So if you can only afford that $20 mug, or you can afford that $2,000 painting, you have opportunities to engage with artists in a meaningful way. You build those lifetime relationships, and maybe you can afford $20 now, but 10 years from now, 20 years from now, you can afford a $2,000 painting. It also makes it that much more meaningful without getting like super, super woo-woo. Like when I get up in the morning and I make my cup of coffee or tea in that handmade mug, I can feel, KJ Potteries or 2232s or Autumn Buttons, their passion and their love and their magic. I can feel that as I'm holding my cup of mug, and it just makes my life, simple things like that, so much more enjoyable. Or I turn around the corner in my house and I see this beautiful painting, and I have that relationship with the artist and I know their backstory. It makes the way that I live and my surroundings that much more meaningful. It's the stories behind things. And you get that when you are working with local artists. You get that story, you get that passion, and that's intangible. It's something so special that it's hard for me even to describe. But it's so worth pursuing.
And I do think during this pandemic, there was definitely a shift in the way that people, in the way that we were seeing people in the store coming in to purchase things. They were really, really, really like, I want to buy something from somebody local. I want to support somebody local. I want to be sure that they're here tomorrow. Yeah. Like that was a shift that was happening that was really, really interesting to see. I mean, we knew it was happening, and we knew it was, people do it all the time, but this was like much more community focused. You know, they really wanted to see things survive here, and it wasn't just our store, it was everybody in that store to be there tomorrow. So that was really great.
So just finding ways to integrate local art into your life, into every part of your life, and really supporting innovation.
Absolutely.
Well, I can't wait to see all the amazing things that are going to come out of Terrain and out of the two of you and everyone that you work with and all the local artists in the years to come.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us. Thanks for providing a platform for us to kind of tell our story. And thanks for creating a platform for other people to tell their story. This is really important. And it's just as important kind of the community building piece that we're doing. So thank you for,
it's my pleasure.
for shining light on it.
Promoting innovation, right? That's what it's all about. So thank you for coming on.
And next time I come on, I won't ask you to rewind and edit.
We did
when I can't make a sentence. Okay.
I'll just save you.
It's like, I can't make my thoughts. Just edit it.
Thank you for coming on, both of you.
Thank you for having us.